Hi everybody, it's Andy and welcome again to my office in Modesto, California. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in California as well as New York. In this video, what I'm going to go over is the idea of a local rule of court as applied in California State Superior Court. So I guess the best way to explain this would be, a while ago I put out a video on California State court forms, so in other words, forms put out by the state of California. I'm going to go ahead and link that right over here. If you've seen any of my other videos where I mentioned things like the FL150 form, the MC50 form, FL142, etc., all of those forms are basically all of those numbers rather are basically form numbers for forms put out by the state of California. And as I explained in I think my local forms video, which I'll link actually down over here, the state court forms are useful because they are standardized across the state of California. So if you are in far southern California, far northern California, the coast, the mountains, whatever, if you are trying to accomplish X in your particular county court, the forms, the paperwork, the process, hopefully, is going to be standardized and less confusing, cheaper, faster, and all that stuff. So the duality, I guess is the best way to put it, the duality between state forms and local forms, like local forms are necessary because state forms cannot be standardized, 100%. There's inevitably going to be something that the state forms can't do or shouldn't do because it's not practical, etc. The local forms are going to be meant to fill in that gap. So this dual nature of having to worry about what the state requires and what the local rules or the local forms rather of the court require, that same idea behind worrying like this is going to apply to rules of court also. So there is actually a state rules of court, California state rules of court. I'm going to go ahead and link a video that I made on that over here. So go ahead and take a look at that if you're not familiar. And there's also going to be a local rules of court, which is what this video is going to be about. So when I say rules of court, either state or local, I'm not talking about laws, really. Like they're not laws in the same way like, criminal statutes are, or like civil offenses like breach of contract or negligence, that kind of thing. It's not really laws in that way. It's more of a procedural thing, like protocol, like how, like basically without the rules of court, I guess, state or local, the courts could run still, except things would be a lot more confusing. Like everybody would be, for example, using their own spacing on court documents, they'd be using their own font, they'd be signing things every which way, they'd be filing things on different schedules and stuff. So to bring some kind of organization, uniformity to the courts generally, that's what the rules of court are for. So there's a state version, like I said, as well as a local version. State version, like I said, this video up here. Local version is going to be this video that you're watching. So that's the basic kind of background, I guess. The logic is going to be the same. So for example, like for the form situation, the state form standardized throughout the state. The local form kind of is meant to take into account any sort of variance or unusual situation that the state form really can't account for because it's unique to that particular county. So the local rules, very similar. There's a state rule of court that basically will specify all this stuff, but for one particular county, maybe the state rule of court makes no sense. Or maybe it's too confusing, or maybe there's a better way of doing it or something. But that's going to be unique to that one particular county. That county is going to be, put forth a rule of some kind that is specific to them that makes their court run smoother because it takes into account whatever kind of anomaly they're dealing with. That county, that county's unique situation. In the county right next door, maybe that'll be the case too, and maybe that county, the one next door here, has a local rule that's similar. Or maybe this county over here goes, hey, we don't care about it, it's no big deal. We're going to go ahead and follow the state rule on this. So that's what makes local rules a bit confusing because each county has their own. But at the same time, each county has their own local forms too. So it's just another thing that if you're a lawyer, for example, you need to know state forms, the local forms, as well as the state rules of court and the local rules of court. So if you are a layperson, hopefully you don't have too many local rules of court and local forms and all that stuff to kind of deal with. But just kind of keep in mind that it is out there. It is to your benefit to know and read the local rules of court also. So on top of that, the best way, I guess, to get the local rules of court, they should be at the courthouse, posted in some way, or available in some way. Practically speaking, that is probably not a good way to do it. The best way, I think, especially if you're watching this video, is basically to go online and search for your county's local rules. And you do that by basically, typing in the name of your county plus Superior Court local rules. So, for example, if you're in San Diego County Superior Court local rules. If you are in Siskiyou County, again, shout out to my Siskiyou County viewers, Siskiyou County Superior Court local rules. You type it in, it pops right up. And they're generally going to be available as PDFs, and you can print them out, search through them, etc. So, but the basic idea though is they are available, and it is to your advantage to know them. There might be something in there that helps you, for example, that helps your case, that maybe makes the difference between you winning and you losing. In general though, knowing the local rules helps you avoid pitfalls as well. Most judges that I've seen are fairly cool about it. They know that, hey, if you're not represented, you're doing the best you can. The local rules can be unnecessarily confusing. They will let you slide. If, however, you're a lawyer, though, judges tend not to be as forgiving because they think that you should know them. So if you're a lawyer watching this in California, by all means, read the local rules for your county or counties. But aside from basically helping your case and being the difference, being the difference between winning and losing, knowing the local rules can also help you avoid any kind of catastrophes, I guess, or pitfalls that you might fall into. So, again, hope that made sense. I usually say this at the end. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing. But rewind this, leave me a comment, subscribe, do all that nice stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks.